hope someone is here. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Let's see if I can get this up and running. So we're going to do things a little bit different today, as I'm, as usual, having technology issues. So, hi. Hi, Letitia and Nicole and Lenny are already here. That's so nice. Great. As I was saying, I don't have no technology issues because I'm the technology queen. I will switch things around once we're a few more people here, and then we will get making. Hi. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Holly. Hi, Julia. Hi, my Driva. Driva even. Right, so we're going to be doing some Copic coloring today. Of this, well, we're going to kind of recreate this card a little bit, but maybe with a little bit of a twist because I can't stick to a plan. But yes. So I tried to sort of pre-prepare a few things, but no, and so I got a little bit distracted. So, no, Daniel, you were not here at the wrong time. It was me. I was a little bit late because, as per usual, the technology said, no, Erica, not today. So I had to switch things around a little bit. And Letitia's coming to Spain next year. Hola! And yeah, I'm having a day because I'm full of spots. But, well, I'm keeping it real, not perfect. Anyone know what stamp set that is from this latest release? Hi, Karen. Hi, Samara. Hi, Dawn. So we have 13 people here. Lucky number 13. I thought maybe we'll switch things around and see if we can get making some stuff. Oh, where is that base, Letitia? I don't know if I showed technology who's boss, Lenny. I just kind of, I took the easy way out. I did. Hi, Susan. Okay. Well, you'll all be very impressed, I'm sure, to see a very clean desk. What is happening? Yeah, sorry, Samara. I was a little bit late because, you know, as per usual, and the technology got the better of me. So I think we're going to close this all down and maybe even turn off some of these lights because it's very bright. And we are going to head to my desktop. And oh, sorry, that was a little bit close. I didn't mean to be quite so up close and personal with you all. Hi, Barb. And what else are we going to grab? We're going to grab a Misty and roll our little card of Copics. Yeah, no, little Copic. It's a pretty big card. But I do love my Copics, so yeah. Right, does anyone have any questions before I turn around and have absolutely no clue what happens anymore? Don't you laugh at me, Driva. You know, this is it. This is how good it gets. But actually, I will try to put the iPad up so I can maybe see a little something. But if I all of a sudden stop responding completely and just goes off on a jibber jabber tangent, then you know that I can't see anything what is happening. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and I will go through this after to make sure that I find all the questions and answer them. Oh, yikes, that was very loud. We don't need to hear all that. I mean, I obviously think I make excellent points, but we don't need to hear those all the time as well. So, all right, we're gonna replug things around a little bit. Right, you guys gonna be okay if I put you down for a minute? There we go. So we're gonna change the cables around a little bit. And here we go. All right. Has anyone seen my t-shirt? It says Antisocial Dog Club. And I have my two little antisocial chicas sitting right over there. Hi, babies. You can say hello to mommy's friends. Yeah? Okay, so if they get all noisy and shouty, then you know that probably my husband did something to make them mad, but oh well. Okay, so we are going to turn things around and see if we can get this. Where are we going? Okay, right. So okay. Oh dear, we've done this again, have we? See if we can slowly turn. No? Yeah, the girly girls are chillaxing in here. Right, so it seems like we are kind of stuck like this now, of course. But, I don't know. Why, should we take a quick vote? Shall I hop out of this and turn it around so that it is proper like this way rather than that way? Right. Okay. Right, my iPad keeps telling me that the broadcast keeps pausing, so I don't know whether that's because my internet is very sketchy today. Very sketchy indeed. Right. Okay. Okay, so Elizabeth says that hers is not stuck. So shall we, I'll tell you what, I'm going to crack on with this and then I will try to zoom in if I can, maybe, if things are getting better. Okay, so I'm going to try to recreate this card today. And we will see how that goes, because I do not remember what the color combination is on this one. So we're going to start out by stamping up our beautiful roses. And just, you know, to kind of give you like an idea, I had these two cards here. So these are obviously done with the same stamp set, but just by changing up the color, you get a very different look. So yeah, that's, ooh, okay. Right, sorry for the fiff-faff. The internet, it keeps kind of going as well, so the comments are not showing up either. So you could potentially all leave and I would be none the wiser. But please don't leave. Please don't leave. We'll try to make this fun. I will probably have to change up the color scheme a little bit, because one of my favorite markers, which is R35, is very dry. And I cannot for the life of me find a re-inker here. Everywhere I try, they're out of stock. So it's clearly a very popular color. Very popular. But anyway. Right, so we can take our Copic friendly ink and we're going to stamp this up. And, you know, I even tried setting this up with StreamYard and it just kept telling me, no, sorry, that doesn't work. Even though I have a snazzy new desktop, which is very pretty, but it is a little bit too smart for me sometimes, I think. Yes, Driva, there is a die cut for this, so you don't have to fussy cut this at all. So I keep my coordinating dies in the same packet as the stamp set, so that everything is kind of like staying in one place. Because often if you use in the stamp set, you're going to be using the die cut, if you're anything like me anyway. A fussy cutter, I am not. And if you hear some weird noises, I promise it's my chair creaking. It's not anything else. I mean, it could be my joints actually, because they have been playing up a bit recently. I am an old lady now. I'm an old lady, and I don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this up 3 times because I want to make sure that I have a really, really sort of dark image or outline. And there we go, look at that. I mean, how gorgeous is that? This is pretty just as it is, isn't it? Okay. Oh, I wish I could see the comments better, but they just kind of keep going off. Well, few of you might be a little bit older, but it's not good, is it? Being old is no good. It's terrible. It's terrible for the joints, terrible for everything. So I think we're maybe gonna try to change up the color scheme a little bit. So I'm gonna flick through my like little Copic book here and see if I can find one that isn't so heavily reliant on R35. Thank you, Lenny. And then, nope, R35 initial. See, I love this color. And then we gotta pick up some greens as well. So maybe, ooh, no, there's 35 at the bottom there, but maybe we'll swap that one out. So we'll do R59 and then R37, 46, so 27. Maybe we should go for 24, make it a little bit more reddish. Yeah, it's a great idea actually, because sometimes I come up with like, oh, you know, I use a good combination and it looks really pretty, and then I go to use the same one again and I have no idea what I used. So this is a really, really good idea. It's just nice for like a reference. So I think maybe we'll add R24 and R43 maybe, or we can throw our Copics around. Yeah, I think, you know, this works out really, really well for me, because I tend to not want to waste my time Copic coloring. So like, you know, figuring out my colors as I go along. So I do like having kind of a bit of a pre-plan when I color. And then I think instead of going for like this sort of spring greeny color, maybe we'll go for this more sort of green color. Is that a way of saying it? But anyway, we will go for this one rather than one of these. Although I do like this one, but I think we will go for this one. So we're gonna need 28, YG67, 24, and 21. And then maybe, because it does add a little bit of nice, like sort of detail with a YG01. So the good thing about this book as well is, well, I say this book, this is Copic paper. So even though I have, you know, done quite heavy saturated coloring here, just to kind of make sure that I see what I'm doing. It's there's quite a few pages, so you can do lots and lots and lots of blends and still have, and I mean, you don't have to take up this much space really. It's just I go big. I can't help it. I do. So we are going to, again, keep this one as a bit of a reference right there. And then we're gonna start some coloring. So I might not finish this because I've already been jibber-jabbering for 20 minutes, like, okay. But let's see what we can get done. And then maybe we will flip this around as well, so it's not completely the same. This is one of the things I really like about card making, is that you can get so many different looks just by changing one or two things around. So for like when I copy color, for instance, I do primarily, I either do this sort of where I go really heavy with the dark around the outline, and then I drag a lighter color inwards to create this sort of blended look. But I'm also big into like the flicking technique. I think that works really, really well for when you need to add sort of depth, especially on smaller images. It works really, really well like that. So I think when it comes to coloring though, is time and patience and practice makes for perfect. So make sure you put your time in when you color, and enjoy. Most of all, I think it's probably the most important part. Enjoy it. Everything doesn't have to be perfect every single time. So, right, while we do this. Oh, Donna, it's so easy to do this. Every time you color, if you leave your markers out like I do, like all over the place, just make sure you grab your little book. I keep this book with all my Copic markers as well. So whenever I'm in need of a bit of inspiration, or I want to mark one down, it's really close by, and it just takes a couple of minutes really to do this, and it saves so much time in the long run. So it's definitely worth doing. So I think another thing with when it comes to copy coloring as well is to remember that you don't have to. Oh, look at that! I missed an entire petal. It's that once you finish with a color, or you think you finished with a color, it doesn't mean that you can't go back to it if you feel like you need to blend more or add more color. Just keep going over the different areas until you're happy. There's nothing that says something has to be, once you put your color down, that's it. You can't pick it up again. There's no coloring police. No. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, now would probably be a good time to do this, because I can actually look up with intermittent times. I mean, regular intervals. I can actually see your questions. So if anyone has got anything they want to ask, hit me up. Right, so this book it's actually from Copic itself. So this is Copic paper, probably £80, Nina. This is 110, and this feels a little bit flimsier. So I think this is 80, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't actually say on it. It might have said when I first got it, but it did have like a little notice in the packaging, but I threw it away thinking, I won't need that. And now it probably could have come in a little bit handy, but oh well. So well, if there aren't many questions, maybe I should ask a question. Which is your favorite from the latest release? Has anything grabbed your fancy? Yeah, it's pretty handy actually. It's one of those things where you kind of think, surely everybody does this, and then you show it and people are like, that's really smart. And you're like, yeah, it is, isn't it? Right, so I've thrown in a little bit of YR02 here as well to kind of get the yellowy look at the bottom of the petals, but we shall see if this works out or not. Oh yeah, look at that, it does. Because naturally I do not have this exact combination written down. That would be far too easy. Oh yes. Oh yes. was something else that yes, all the coffee products, Holly. I love, love, love them. And I mean, can you ever have too many sequins? I don't think so. No, definitely not. And yes, the mini slimline dies, we are going to be, or new slimline dies even, we're going to be using the mini slimline ones for this card. So cut out this little piece, although I cheated a little bit and I have already cut it out. Or is it cheating if you're planning? I don't know. I had planned on heat embossing and even starting the coloring before the class, but oh, the best intentions and that, you know, tends to go downhill pretty quickly in my craft room when I think I have a plan and then all of a sudden it just goes, nope, we're not doing that. Anyone else can relate to that, or is it just me? Like crafting mayhem chaos. Someone commented about the flowers, the flower cover plate. Oh yes, that is definitely super, super gorgeous. And thank you, Karen. It's not planning. We're not cheating if you're planning. Thank you. I appreciate that. So maybe next time I will plan a little bit more, so it will be even better. Okay, right. So I'm gonna try to speed this up a little bit. So usually when I color, I do take a little bit more time, especially if I want a good smooth blend. But like I said, I think I've been jibber jabbering a little bit long. So we might not get to all of this. So I might just have to kind of jump ahead a little bit and finish this off a little bit later. But I will show the other elements of the card making anyway instead. So yeah. One of my favorites from this new release is the seamless down to the last cup stamp. I love everything coffee related. It's just like, can you ever have too many flower and coffee related stamps? Nay, nay, I say. I want them all. I really do. And if you can hear woofing, it's actually my neighbor's dog. It's not my little girls. They're napping pretty hard. It's like pre-bedtime nap. Oh, we had some, I think, somewhat good news today about the house that we're hoping to buy. So the bank evaluation person or survey person has finally been able to get their pin. It's been a real palaver trying to get the owner of the house and this survey person in the same area at the same time. It's taking weeks to get this done, but it's finally been done. So once his report comes into the bank, we can finally proceed. We hope anyway. I mean, the report has to say that the house is worth as much as we want to borrow, because otherwise it's game over for real this time. So fingers crossed, people, fingers crossed. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself because things can still go haywire and down the drain, but it's very hard to contain the excitement when I have a very, very large room to renovate into the craft room. But yes, put a lid on the excitement because I don't want to count my chickens until they are hatched. But holy cannoli, people, it's so hard. It's gonna be amazing. Amazing if I get my way. Okay. It feels like everybody left. Is there anyone here? Yes, thank you, Xiomara. Fingers crossed. Sometimes it would be nice, you know, with these lives if people could kind of chime in with their voices as well, because it does feel a little bit lonely at times when you're sitting here talking to yourself and you look up and see, hoping to see someone interacting with you. So thank you to those of you who are leaving comments and stuff. It's making me feel less like a freak talking to myself. Right, I tell you what we are going to do. I think we're going to move on to a couple of the leaves, just to kind of make sure that we actually will somewhat have finished this card. So I'm going to probably go for, yes, a Zoom class would be fun. That is an excellent idea, Lenny. How cool. I would be totally up for that. And I'm really grateful to you guys for hopping in from the US, because I know it's a bit of a difficult time for you guys with it being kind of like late night time for me here and middle of the day for you guys. So thank you all for being here. It means a lot. And yeah, it's super stressful to move house. We've done this so many times, and because we move a lot with my husband's job, so I want to make sure that this time is like the last time. So we're buying something that's almost like it's a bit of a it's quite the project. Let's just say that it's quite the project. There's a lot to be done on this house, so we're definitely gonna be busy for a while, and there's a lot of renovations that needs to be done to kind of modernize and stuff, so we can move in. It's livable as it is, but it's very it's very 60s 70s inside, let's just say. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you're maintaining and upkeeping and stuff, but this is a cave house, so it's let's go for cozy. It's got a bit of a cozy vibe. But when I'm finished with that place, oh, it's going to be amazing. Oh, amazing. So I'm thinking I might need to even do like its separate Instagram account for the cave house, because otherwise I would just be overloading my own Instagram with house inspiration and renovations and stuff. So yeah, the cave house probably will have its own Instagram account, because I'm a bit extra like that. But hey, it's exciting. Okay, right, so for the leaves here, I think we're going to kind of do a really light little touch here at the end, and maybe leave a little bit of the white for kind of that like variegated look. So the house is pretty far from the beach, actually. It's in cave house country, so we are much closer to a lake. So if you go on Google Maps and Google Lake Negratin, that's Negratin, I think. I'll write it down. Oh, goodness me, nearly fell off my chair then. So Lake Negratin. Hope you can read my handwriting there. If you Google that, you will be able to see the area, because I think it's about maybe, well, it's less than half an hour's drive from that lake to where our cave house is, but I couldn't tell you in which direction because I don't know. It's somewhere in the area, somewhere. I will write down the combination for sure. I will. I'll tell you what. I will do that right now. I have so much paper around, and then I cleaned up and tidied up, and now I can't find anything. It's so difficult, isn't it? So difficult. I tidy up for the class. Yeah, sure. Don't find anything. Sure. So we are gonna go. So this is R59 and R37 and then R46 and then R24 Whew. Okay, I'm gonna need to refill this one, but it's R43 and a little bit of Rota. Okay, I don't know where that is. I'll have to Google. Oops, that's not I got a little bit sidetracked. O2 and the greens are G28 YG67 Well, Letitia, if you give me enough notice, might be able to sort out a meetup. I mean that giggle in a non-stalkery way. I do. Thank you. All right, so I will leave this somewhere so you can actually see it. Is that good? Is that okay? Where did the comments go again? Oh, goodness me. And you know what? I have actually ordered a new chair. And it was supposed to come now this month in October. But of course, yes! Oh, sorry. Letitia just said yes to meeting up and she can bring me Americano goodies. It probably will be mostly craft goodies, just so you know, yeah? Because, you know, priorities. But cool. Okay, so this wasn't as nice. So I think we'll be adding a little bit more dark yellow. So maybe a bit of Y17. There we go. Okay. Okay. So there we are. Let's see how we're doing on time. 25 to. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to crack on with the coloring because I might just about finish. Is this okay? Can everybody see where that is? I hope it's on my end. The screen is the wrong way around, but I will mark down the color combinations in the description, not the description box. I'm talking like I'm on YouTube. I mean the information box, whatever the thingy is that you do on Facebook. What is that called? Here comes my foreignerness again. I cannot find the words that I need. Someone please help me out. Oh, thank you, Kathy. And did I see my Joe in there as well? That my Jo from Australia. I love my Jo. She's amazing. She's so lovely. In the comments. Yes, I can do that in the comments. Thank you, Karen. The other foreigner comes to rescue the weird foreigner. Thank you, Karen. Oh, lordy. Well, you know what they say about lives. You can't take it back. Nope. And what happens, happens. Yep. So if we were to do kind of like something along the lines of like a Zoom class, maybe with like coloring or something where it could be a little bit more interactive, would that be something that people would enjoy? Would that be fun? Ooh, how did I get started into Copic coloring? That's a good question. I don't know if I remember like 100% or if I'm just kind of like coming up with. Okay, so maybe not with Copics. 6:40. No, it's 9:40 here. 9:40 p.m. So I'm not that it's overly late, but I'm an old lady now. I need my sleep. So I can stay up a little bit later on the weekends, but on the weeks I do try to get up with my husband in the morning, and that's hard when I don't get enough sleep because, oh my goodness, I'm so cranky if I don't get enough sleep. So yeah, that's hard for me, but yeah, so the Copic coloring, I'm fairly sure I either saw like Sandy Olnick or someone else equally amazing coloring with Copic markers, and I thought, hey, I'll get a few of those, give it a try. Yeah, here I am many years later. This must have been, so we lived in Denmark at the time, so that would have been probably, must have been 2013 at the earliest. So here we are, many years later, 8 years later, and I have nearly the full set of markers and many refills. So yeah, people, it's a slippery slope. Let me just tell you that right now. It's a slippery slope. But it is really good fun, actually. I think I do enjoy watercoloring as well, but there's something kind of magical about Copic coloring for me, because I find like with watercoloring, it's easier. Like if you want a really soft, lovely look like this, it's easy to achieve that. But I do find that there's a bit more of a challenge, and it's easier to get kind of like textures and stuff, you know. I like it, I do. But yeah, the thing that is a bit with Copics is that they are very pricey. So Roxy just said that she's working with her first like off-brand alcohol markers. There went my words again. And that can be a good way to kind of like try it, because not everybody likes coloring with alcohol markers. So, you know, I think it's important to be honest with yourself. Just because somebody else, maybe even someone you admire and love a certain type of medium, doesn't mean that you are going to. And if you don't enjoy it, there really isn't a good idea to spend money on it. And yeah, that's kind of where I fall with the whole Copic thing, because I must admit, like in the beginning, I found it very, very, very difficult to get to grips with. Very difficult. I don't think I was patient enough, and I also don't think I watched sort of enough tutorials and things like that. So I kind of dove headfirst into the Copic waters, and was disappointed when I didn't get good results. But it really does come from, a lot of it is, you know, practice. I do find with Copic coloring, especially, even more so than watercoloring, practice is the main thing. And don't give up, because it does take time, but it's fun to practice. But one thing that I will say though is that it's good to kind of have like a benchmark thing that you can compare yourself with. So color like the same image over and over again, like not like every day, but say you commit to coloring the same image once a week or once a month, depending on how much you color, and then try to apply what you learn from, you know, watching other people. Yes, the right kind of ink and paper definitely makes a big difference. You have to have good paper for Copic coloring, because if you can't blend on your paper, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So it's definitely worth investing in good quality paper and a good ink. So this ink works with both watercolor and with Copic markers and with pencils and all sorts. So this is a really, really, really good ink to have, and it's my go-to ink for Copic coloring. Where was I? I was going off on a tangent about practicing, wasn't I? Yeah, so color the same image once a week, once a month, or however often you kind of feel is appropriate, and then make sure you keep them together. Hi Brandy, good for you for getting out of work. We like that. And compare them, but don't sort of like get super hung up if you feel like I'm not seeing that much difference, because like I said, it does take time, and it's worth it. You will get there, but you also do have to kind of like step outside of your comfort zone a little bit, try new things, trying new like color combinations, trying adding details and contrast with darker colors that maybe you feel is a bit scary. And yeah, it is. So like I said, don't be scared of adding colors and trying colors. And then if you have a book like this, when you do find a combination that you really like, make sure you write it down, because, you know, we tell ourselves that we're going to remember stuff all the time, right? And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, what was that thing I was going to remember? And you're like, oh, I can't remember. No shit, Sherlock. Oh, excuse my French. I'm so sorry. That kind of slipped out a little. Ooh, my apologies. Here, have a flower as a sorry. But yes, as I said, keep your coloring, keep it going, and invest in the mediums that you feel like you're going to like. Because if you don't feel like you're going to like something, then don't spend money on that. Yes, the lies we tell ourselves. So sorry, Dreefa. And Brandy, didn't mean to let that one slip out, but it's these unguarded moments where things come out that maybe I didn't mean to. Oh well. Oh well. It happens, right? But yeah, for me, coloring is one of those things, like if I'm in a bad mood, because a man, probably the man, has said something or left something somewhere. I mean, they leave stuff all the time, right? Yes. That's it, Joe. I feel so relaxed around you guys that it's kind of like, oh, they don't mind if I use my bad words. Oops, it slipped out. Too late now. Can't take you back. Yeah, so I will go up to the craft room, color my woes away, and then it won't feel quite so bad. And I tell you, coloring has been a major relaxing point for me, like saving grace almost, during this pandemic. If I hadn't had coloring, pretty sure that there might have been a murder in our house by now. So, okay. I didn't leave as much light on these leaves as I did the other ones, but 10 minutes. Okay, right, so, and I forgot the middles. Okay, of course I did. Right, let's finish these middles off real quick. And yeah, there we go. Almost there. Okay, right, so around this card here, what I've done is I've ink blended a little bit of like apricot ink, just to kind of give it a bit of a vintage feel. So I think we'll probably stick with that sort of general look. And then on the back here, to kind of create this shadow, I've used a die cut on the flowers, and then I've also used it on this fantastic textured gold cardstock that I found in a shop in Denmark. And then they discontinued it. Why do they always discontinue the good stuff? I don't understand. But anyway, so I bought up as much as I could before it was all gone, and then of course, you know, we left. So this is, you know, one of those things where I'm like, I only use it for very special occasions. So you guys are special, so you get the good stuff. So I'm going to cut this out, and we're going to turn it the right way even, and then we're going to cut out another one of here. But what I was thinking might sort of make it really dramatic is actually if I do one in black. I tell you what, we've already done a gold, and I'm not saying that because I'm being cheap with the gold stuff, although maybe a little bit. But we're going to cut it out of black cardstock and see what that looks like, because, you know, sometimes it's fun to change things up, right? Isn't it? So I'm going to be making a lot of noise right now, because I'm going to be cutting out my things. Oh, lordy. When things get heavy to lift, then you know you need to start working out a little bit more. Because when it's even difficult to lift things in the craft room, then you know you're out of shape. Whew. So Joe said yes to the black, and then we are gonna do that. We're gonna do exactly that. So, and this is like a spare piece of black cardstock. So I've already done some like ink blending on this, but I ended up not using this. So we're gonna save that piece of black cardstock. I knew there was a reason I say this. So we're gonna use it all, because craft waste is what? The worst kind of waste. There we go. Okay, I think this is gonna look super dramatic and lovely. So we're gonna find the right way around. There we go. Ooh, yeah, look at that. But we are going to add some color, I think, for sure, because it kind of brings in the focus on the card, doesn't it? So yes, let's do that. So we're going to do a little bit of apricot, I think. And what we're going to do, what I do whenever I ink blend, is that I get loads and loads of ink on my brush, and then I tap it off the excess on the lid. So because I want a really soft look now, I'm gonna just take the ink from here first, and then we're gonna go around the edges like this. And because it's only a soft layer of ink, we're gonna get a really gentle sort of look here, which is exactly what I want. Then we're gonna leave lots of white space in the middle, because I mean, obviously that's gonna be covered up anyway, but we just kind of want it to look like glow around the flowers. And if I sound out of breath, it's because ink blending is my cardio. Yes. Oh, let's work it. There we go. A little bit more in this corner. And a little bit in this corner here. So, there we go. That's pretty even. Yeah. So that is just from getting the ink from the lid here. So that's a pretty clever little hack, I think, anyway. And here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a bit of foam tape to the back of this. Not to the black one, but to the back of this. And so we're gonna raise this up. And here again, look, I've got so much. Absolutely, ink blending is cardio, for sure. Don't let anybody tell you differently. So we're gonna puzzle a few of these pieces, and actually we might use some of these long ones. Now you know what? Woo! Okay, 5 minutes. We can do this. I can do this. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Okie dokie. Okay. Righty-o. If anyone has any questions, you gotta get them in soon, because in a minute I think the mayhem is gonna set in and there's gonna be crafting chaos again. So if you want to know anything, now is the time to ask. Right, is anyone as obsessed with foam tape as I am? I don't know. Be kind of nice to know I'm not alone, but even if I am, I don't care. I love it. Foam tape is one of the most brilliant inventions ever. I love this stuff, especially the double-sided stuff. Oh, so good. So good. Okay, so I went a little bit big there. So we're gonna trim this one off. Maybe add this one there. Okay. Okay, so this one went that way, so we'll probably do this one this way then. Okay. So on the back of this, we're gonna just add a little bit of liquid glue. And it's nice and colorful background here. Backside, I should say. Okay, just save this way. Alright, so this is going to be slightly off center because we're going to want our flowers to kind of have that shadow like that. So peel these off. And then we're going to stick this down, and I'm not sure we're going to have time to actually heat emboss a sentiment, but I will give it a go. I am ready. Almost. Almost. Okay. Ooh, okay. And of course, so, I mean, I'm not going to do this right now, but I'm going to be using the gems from, this is the Day and Night mix. And it has clear and black gems. And this is one of my favorite mixes because it's so versatile. It just goes with everything. Now, it does say secret mix on this, but it's actually a gem mix. So, right. Sentiment, let's see. Woo, okay, a minute. What do you think? Can we do this? Yes, I can do this. We have time. We have time. Okay, so because we're going to heat emboss this, we are going to quick. Now, if I had a clean blender brush, I would use that to help me get my anti-static powder down, but I do not. I have used every single one of my life-changing blender brushes for a color, so and I'm a little bit lazy to clean them, so I should give them a bit of a spa day actually, but I tend to buy new ones instead. Okay, so let's do Friends Make the World Beautiful. This is kind of perfect. Or You're My Inspiration. Nope. Oh, we gotta make sure it fits, don't we? Thanks for stopping by, Driva. You make my day special. Nope. Okay, we're gonna go Friends and Make the World More Beautiful. Okay, here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Do not have time to mess around. Okay, so we're gonna start this with some embossing ink. And this one is from Wow. That's my go-to for embossing. Okay, and we're probably gonna do that one more time just to make sure we have really good imprint. There we go. And we're gonna take my little pot of gold embossing powder. Said with a little bit of a smirk, I'm not gonna lie, because it's huge. Huge. And why is it that my lives always turn into a bit of a race? Must get better at managing my time. Okay. Right, it's gonna get noisy for a sec while I heat up my heat gun. Let's see, we'll probably add gems in the same spots as before, just because it kind of works out really, really well on that. Okay, we're almost at the finish line. Almost. Yeah, it's that refill bottle thing. It's really, really good, and it's so easy to use as well. You just sit there and roll it back and forth until you're happy. I mean, couldn't be easier. So, right. Okay, we're going to quickly cut this out. Nearly there. We're nearly there. Oh, we're running a little bit over, but oh well. We're having fun, right? Right? Okay, a little bit of liquid glue in this. Oh, come on now. Oh boy. Yes, Nicole, I completely agree. I think a lot of people are having problems with their heat embossing because their ink pad is just not juicy enough, and that is a big problem. You gotta have a really nice and juicy ink pad in order to get good results, and a lot of people, I think, kind of underestimate just how juicy it really needs to be. And of course, right now my glue bottle will not give me any glue. Why right now? Why right now? Come on. Oh. Okay, you know what? Let's try something else. We'll try another pen. We'll try something. Here we go. Okay, a little bit of glue. Whew, okay. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna use our grid mat to make sure we get this on straight. And in the middle, so, oops. Yeah, helps if you keep it straight as well then, doesn't it? So, there we go. Okay, right. Well, so haven't added the gems yet, but I will do that as well. And I tell you what, I'm just gonna do it now. Just gonna do it now. Okay, right. Let's find ourselves some Jimmy Gems. And I will most likely add way too many for some of you, but I am the president of Overblingers Anonymous. So if you want to join, hit me up. I will hook you up with a membership. I just think life is short. You never know what's going to happen. Add the bling. Yeah. That's my stance and I'm sticking to it. See, one of the things that I really like about these gem mixes as well is that you get so many different sizes. So, oh, there we go. There's a little one, just what we needed. Because like in some of them you have to buy different packets to get all the different sizes, but not in these ones. No. Okay, let's see if she will play nicely now. It's probably because it's nearly empty, so we are like pushing it a little bit to try to get anything out. You know what? I'm just gonna grab a new one. It's time. Ooh, here we go. Ooh, okay. Let's add. Okay, so this one is a little bit too eager. Okay, well, I mean, little over an hour, and I only had the mini slimline piece pre-cut. Everything else was made on the spot. Not too shabby, eh? Whew. Phew. Okay. Yep. I'm all done. The only thing I obviously will need to do still is adding a card base. And I think, although I did go a little bit heavier around the edges with this one, with the ink blending, it kind of worked because of the shadow being black Whereas I think on this one, with it being gold, it's nice that it has that extra bit of white in the space there. So I'm gonna just hold them up so that you can see, like, next to each other. For those of you who have the screen this way and this way. So yeah. And just by changing the color up a little bit, I mean, okay, so the flowers are pretty similar, but with the leaves and everything, you can just change things around so much. So yeah, that is it. Oh, and okay, so here is the colors that I've used. Mine is, so for the middles, I used a bit of a combination of YR68, YR65, and Y17. So I will add those here as well. Ooh. Oh no! Oh, no! My poor gem. Oh, okay. So that was not a good move. Okay, I'm gonna put that one on top. So I'm gonna do. So this was YR68 and YR65 and also Y17. Okay, so that is all of the markers that I have used for the coloring of this card. Yes, I didn't actually end up using the YG01, which is one of my favorites actually for greens, for kind of like that soft light hitting of the leaves, but I didn't end up using it. So we have used 5, 10, 13 markers for one little image, but you know, I think it was worth it. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this slightly manic coloring and the card that was finished, and the other card as well that was the sort of inspiration. Plus, of course, if you're more into watercoloring, there's this one as well. So on this one, I have actually heat embossed the stamp in the background with white embossing, once in a corner there and once in a corner here. And then I've stamped the flowers with the black hybrid ink first, and then I've heat embossed this with clear on top to kind of get that raised edge with the watercoloring lines. So yeah, 3 different looks, same stamp set. Okay, well, it is, I'm 10 minutes over. Okay, hopefully nobody is upset, but I will be signing off now, and then we, and this time I will remember that it's actually on my phone and not start trying to press buttons on the iPad, which is what I did last time. So we're gonna turn this around and see. Okay, well, yes, good night. I'm gonna be going to bed very shortly, and I'm so glad you think I'm funny. That's so nice to hear, and it was worth the extra time. Thank you so much, Carol. And yeah, let's see. So I think Nicole is live tomorrow. I think, yes, Karen. Somebody's live tomorrow. Yes. Somebody will confirm whether they are or not. I have very little clue what's happening. So that is it for me for today, but we'll see you probably next month. I mean, it seems like these events are kind of, I was going to say happening, but that's a little bit too hip, isn't it? Popular, should we say. Yes. And I don't know if I'm supposed to draw the winner from this live event, or if Karen can help me out with that, because she's like the brains behind the technology. So if not, I will confer with her and we will draw a winner and announce in the comments as well. So that is it. I will now go. Bye.